What's up guys, it's McNulty here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the top 20 average speed heroes in the whole of Empires and Puzzles. That's right, we are going for it again today because we had an excellent response to the last video. 320 odd likes so far, so thank you so much. We were going for 300 and we pretty easily managed to do that. So thank you guys very much for all of that. And that means that today we are going to dive in to the top 20 average speed heroes in the whole of Empires and Puzzles. Now there are a heck of a lot of heroes in this list. I haven't even taken the time to count. We're gonna need to go through this pretty damn quickly, but like I said before, if it's worth doing properly, it's worth doing properly. So we are gonna try and give them justice, but we've got a lot of heroes to go through. So what we're gonna be doing today is trying to pick out the absolute best of the best of the average speed heroes in the whole of Empires and Puzzles all the way up until September of 2024. And I've got a pretty good idea that I've got a decent list. So here we go. Let's crack on straight away. We'll start with the beginning like we did before. We're going to start with the ice heroes. Let's try and get this video to 350 likes. Come on, we can do it. And then if we do that, then we're good to go with the fast speed or the very fast speed. In fact, we might even put it down to a vote. Anyways, enough of this. Let's get into what you guys want to see. So we're going to start off right at the top left-hand corner of this list with Adelinda. Adelinda, she is definitely going to make the cut. Despite her dated stats, she is still a really viable hero. Decent amount of decent hit and the defense down and the fiend. She makes it really hard to come back from. Aegir next to her. In his costume or not, he's a terrible hero. I'd stay far away from that guy if you can. Aino, she I would say would definitely be an A+ hero. Excellent cleanse and decent heal, especially in the costume version. Alexandrine next to her, I'll give her a decent sort of A grade because she's okay. She can be used in a pinch if you need a healer. So definitely Alexandrine will be a viable option for you there. Anzia, I'm going to say I'd put her pretty far down the list, C grade, if anything. Ariel, still a fantastic hero, excellent cleanse in the costume especially, and she gives that mana generation. She gives like a moderate amount of mana straight away to your heroes, which is really useful as well. So she can join the party. I'll put her in the A+ tier. Athena, if you have the costume, S tier hero. If you don't have the costume, probably a decent sort of B grade hero, but really good against Titans. Bala, not going to waste any time. Bennu, really pretty disappointing hero, kind of gives the whole team a counterattack, which is okay, but nothing special. Kaelin, really great hero with that Shield God Mega Minion. The Mega Minion safely cleanses and it also gives sleep effect. I'm not the hugest fan of the sleeping effect, but when it's attached to a Mega Minion, I feel like it's really useful and he has the stats to match it. I'll give him an S grade. Selamine next to him. Selamine's a decent hero. I always confuse her with Tethys from the Atlantis heroes, but she's nothing the same. She does 400% damage to the target nearby, and then she gives them this ailment where they can't get their status ailments cleansed by special skills for 3 turns, and she gives a nice meaty 44% defense down. So she will be in the S tier, plus that bard bonus. We can't forget about that. Changi next to her, probably the most beautiful and underrated hero in the game. I guess maybe she's not underrated, but she's kind of fallen by the wayside with some of the new releases. I'm still a massive fan of Changi, S tier all day long. Cinnamon, the little pet with a massive hit and excellent defense down against ice. I'll put him in the A+ tier. He's fantastic. Davy Wavy, I can't even remember what he does. 500 boosted health over 4 turns. Not a huge fan of Davy Wavy. He's really not that great. I mean, the seasonal heroes this year, you know, let me know in the comments if you think the same. But I feel like they've been a massive disappointment. Pretty much all of the seasonal heroes except for 1 or 2. Esme's pretty cool but very niche. She's a healer that destroys fiends. I'll give her a B. She's kind of average. Xera, pretty much a waste of time. Please stay far away. Frida had the day in the sun. The bear had the day in the sun, but unfortunately just power creep and stats, and the other elemental defense downs have definitely taken over. Nice little dispel, B grade, I would say, for Frida. Gilak, still an S tier hero, just a massive amount of damage. Those fiends are pretty deadly, and they also steal generated mana, which is awesome. Glenda, pretty okay if you have a couple of Pengis to pair her up with, especially against the Mythic Titan. Other than that, pretty much that's the only area she can be used. Hetepheres. Now, Hetepheres, the original version, I'm not such a huge fan of, but if we switch over to the next list, in the costume for Hetepheres, I kind of like it, him, her, whatever it is. It's a nice health recovery for all allies, nice amount of defense up against nature, and then gives that huge negative accuracy as well for 4 turns, which is really, really good. And then you get a 60% chance to boost health as well. So kind of just a good healer, really deep heal, and, you know, able to get rid of some pretty decent fiends. So I'll say A grade for Hetepheres. King Arthur, again, it's kind of that elemental defense down that's just fallen by the wayside. So we cannot give King Arthur anything more than a B. Krampus, featured in the Fated Summon. If you don't have a taunt hero, he's an absolute must. I would say he's pretty average in the regular version, so B grade. But if you do have the costume, I'd put him up to an A+. Just fantastic, and that Bulwark effect is excellent with the defense. Makes him super hard to kill. Lord Loki, next to him, he's going to be an S tier hero all day long, whether you have the costume or not. If you don't have the costume, pop some double limit breaks, some alpha ethers on that guy, and he will be able to copy any skill of any super duper powered hero in the game, running at any speed. So yeah, you cannot not give Loki an S grade, especially if you have the costume. That's probably my most wanted hero at the moment, right at the top of the list. Matera, wasn't too big of a fan of her. She's got a massive snipe to the target. And then if the target gets defeated, damage is dealt to, extra damage is dealt, it doesn't really work. Miriam and Midnight, man. You know what? When Miriam and Midnight came out, a little bit of a history thing here. Going back to my video on Miriam and Midnight, I was like, this is the best freaking hero in this whole game that's ever been released. When she came out, everybody else was like, nah, not Miriam and Midnight. But I called it. I called it on Miriam and Midnight. She was so freaking good. And then they just stomped on her head for no freaking reason. She would have been balanced out anyway. Such a disappointment, unfortunately. Now, I've got to give her a B-. But yeah, real disappointment for me with Miriam and Midnight. Miss Ethel, next hero. From the Easter heroes, absolutely the best seasonal hero that's been released. I said there was one or two. Miss Ethel is definitely one. I'll give her an S tier. That damage is massive. She runs at average speed. She's really, really good. Nautica next to her. S tier all day long. Fantastic hero. Excellent. Gives the mana to the nearby. Pity they didn't allow us to use more than one, but, you know, tricky SG. They know what they're doing. Odette. Kind of a disappointment, unfortunately. She was pretty good when she came out, but really a flash in the pan, so I can't give her any more than an A grade. I think she's good, but really not great. Passepartout, I've seen him used to good effect, especially with the costume version. Regular version stats are a bit dated again. That's a big problem with a lot of these heroes. If you have the costume though, he's fantastic. So I'll give him a A+ with the costume. We're really reserving the S tier for the best of the best. Now, speaking of the best, next to him, my man Richard. Regular version Richard, yeah, nah. Costume Richard, nah. Second costume Richard, nah. Tune for Richard. Now we are talking. The tune for Richard all day long is an S tier hero. Just fantastic amount of damage, excellent passives, just a rip rockin' cool hero. Absolutely brilliant. Next to him, Rumpelstiltskin, pile of trash, absolute trashy trash all day long. Do not bother with Rumpelstiltskin, whether you have the costume or not. That random effect is annoying. Not annoying when you're going up against him, but annoying if you actually have him. Satori, fantastic hero. I was lucky enough to grab Satori, and I absolutely love that guy. He's excellent on defense, excellent on offense, keeps your team alive long enough to do some damage. And if they're unlucky enough to bring a cleanser or a dispeller, then they're getting some pretty serious damage from that guy, and he's awesome. Sigyn next to him, one of the newer heroes that we've got. Absolutely brilliant effect, but she targets the enemies on either side of the formation, and when she hits them, they lose 50% mana, and then I believe they get this horrible fiend on them as well, which just absolutely murders them. So it's a fantastic effect, makes it so that it's very difficult to get rid of that fiend as well. S tier all day long for Sigyn. Cine, waste of time. Worst hero of the month. I mean, pointless hero of the month. I'm not going to say worst hero of the month, but pretty pointless. Skadi, oh, how the great have fallen. Skadi was awesome. But even now, if you have the costume, you can't get rid of those minions, so you can't get your team up, you can't get your stacks on, sorry. Yeah, just a waste of an awesome hero, unfortunately. Sobek. So moving on to I believe our next list, we've got Sobek here. Freaking beast, man. I love Sobek. He's got the right ether talent in the right order. Absolutely excellent in his regular version, but stats being dated, if you just have the regular version, I would say A+. If you do have the costume, he's an S tier hero all day long, just a destroyer of worlds, and gets that bypass, which is all important, especially up against counter-attack heroes and things like that. Sorrow. Sorrowful, actually, that Sorrow isn't better. She was supposed to be amazing. She looked amazing on paper. She probably, again, was a bit of a flash in the pan hero, but unfortunately, the minion destruction thing just doesn't really work, and it's not enough damage. So yeah, no for Sorrow. Sorrow for Sorrow. Then we have my man Thorn. Look at this absolute beast of a toon that has just been dropped upon us. Thorn is freaking excellent. Probably taking the crown from Toon Richard as the most underestimated and going to be a really devastating hero in a lot of defenses. Mark my words. Definite S tier, easy S tier for Thorn. Waterpipe, excellent hero, S tier all day long. And that about does it for the ice heroes. Now moving on into nature, we have Arco, S tier. I still love his effect. I still think that even despite slightly dated stats, he's very, very useful healer. Armand Moncharmin, again, one of these heroes with the minion and the sleep effect. The minion and the sleep effect does pretty well, but then he also gets the extra damage to all enemies. So it's kind of a bit of a step up. And if I gave the Garrison Guard an S, I'm going to have to give Armand Moncharmin an S as well. Plus his stats are just absolutely ridiculous. Atomos, waste of time. Atwood, excellent hero. Atwood is pretty awesome. Probably the best out of all of the insanity type heroes, the cultists and the investigators. He's the only one that really does well. I'd say probably him and Hunter, the only two that really work very well. I love Dolores. I'm thinking about Dolores now as well, but like, nah, just him and Hunter are really good. Priority dispel, massive damage, S tier all day long. Balbar, waste of time hero, sleep effect really doesn't work for him. Boom and Fang, pretty much I would say one of the worst goblins, unfortunately. Just that counter-attack minion, and that's pretty much it. Caloris, our new hero of the month. For September, I am very proud to say this. Just remember this moment because Caloris is an S tier hero and she is the hero of the month, which is awesome. And it's been a long time since I could say that. So yeah, absolutely brilliant hero, excellent healer, one of the better healers in the game actually. Kineza, again, just dated stats, unfortunately. I was kind of excited about pairing her with other heroes, but yeah, that's by the by. She's not going to make the cut. Chrom, some serious dot damage from Chrom, and I do really like this hero, but I was going to say there's probably a bit of a but here. I mean, do you know what? Actually, he's really good. The health boost to all allies is 800 health, boosted health at average speed, so I can't give him a knock. But what I can say is that he's dealing different types of elemental damage to different elements, or dot damage to different elements, but doesn't really matter because he's dealing the same amount of dot damage. If there was some kind of other variation that you couldn't just cleanse one off and then you cleanse it all off, I'd say he'd be a bit higher. As it is though, I'm still going to put him in the S tier just for everything that he's doing and for being a really good healer as well. Pardon me. Desmond next to him. Desmond is another one that hits, I think, the edges. Yeah, he hits the edges of the enemy formation. And for the hits, he boosts the health of all of your allies. So he's kind of like, what's the guy's name from the Musketeers? I'm sure we'll meet him in a moment. Aramis, I think it is. But he hits the 3 and then he boosts the health. You can think of this guy in the same effect, except that he hits the targets on the enemy formation on the edges. So he's absolutely brilliant. Plus, what else does he do? Silences them. I mean, what more could you want? Yeah, he's a great hero. S tier. Eora and Fluffy, not going to make the cut. Elradir, not going to make the cut. Enigmo, not going to make the cut. Just also the rarest hero in the game, but one of the most terrible. Like, how does that add up and make sense? We had Mysterio, he's really super rare. And now we've got Enigmo, who's super rare as well, but just is terrible. I'm not a fan. Anyway, Ferris, S tier all day long. Fantastic hero. Love the dual dot damage with the poison and bleed as well. And a decent amount of damage. Fungustine from the slimes. Pretty much all of the slimes are excellent. Fungustine is no different. That sticky surface that she gets where she sort of steals the buffs is absolutely brilliant. So S tier for her. Garten, unfortunately fallen quite far since he had that nerf. And they called it a buff, which is still bitter. I'm still bitter about that. I know you are too, Clay. So that was a horrible thing. I mean, that counterattack and boosted health based on the amount of counterattack was genius. Just genius. And why they had to go and change it, really, I don't know. There wasn't even a chance to get it super duper tested. Yeah, I don't think you had to change that anyways. Bitter about that. But unfortunately now Garten's probably a B+ hero. Green Knight. Yeah, he's not going to make the cut. His mechanic doesn't really work that great. B+ for him as well. Gregorian, not going to make the cut. Guan Yu, not going to make the cut, but still decent. I do like him. A+ for him. Guardian Chameleon, very niche uses. Not going to make the cut as one of the best. Hammer Tusk is going to make the cut. He's an S tier hero. Just his skill. I would love to have him and use him instead of Franz, because Franz comes out the bag all of the time. He comes out of the roster for all sorts of different things. And if I had Hammer Tusk, it would be a no-brainer. He'd definitely be on a green team for sure. But for the usability, the versatility, every single area of the game, you're going to use that guy. Yeah, S tier all day long. Hallstone. Yeah, I can't give him an S. I'll give him an A+, maybe. He's a pretty decent healer. But again, he takes too much time. I think he's a heal over time. Let me just check here. So yeah, he gives the different effects. Yeah, that's it. Based on the amount of HP they have. That's why I'm not a fan of him. Like anything random or weird, unless I can kind of control it, I'm not a huge fan of it. So yeah, I'll give Hallstone an A. He's okay. Humbert, man, I love this guy. Just a humongous amount of damage. 350% to all enemies, and then he boosts all of the allies' health by 25% of the damage dealt. So any hitter that heals, especially with boosted health, definitely worth maxing out. Humber is excellent. And then we've got Lady Locke, pretty much a piece of trash. Liadria, again, like I said in the Soul Exchange video, just not a fan of her. There are some kind of usable bits, maybe a B for Liadria. Leaf Whisk, I would say, is a pretty decent hero. You have to kind of know how to use Leaf Whisk. He's a little bit tricky to use, but that growth effect with the defense can be really, really useful. So yeah, I'll give him an A+ for Leaf Whisk. Lube, he's not going to be as usable anymore, but I can't wait to see what they do with his costume. I'm pretty sure I will change my opinion right away. But for now, I'll put him as an A-grade hero. Morgan Le Fay, no, not going to make the cut. Peregrine, our newest hero. So Peregrine's got a massive amount of damage, 440% damage to the target nearby. And then she gets this, first time we've seen it, the enhanced dodge, where they have to dodge 5 turns successfully for the effect to disappear. And it's a 55% chance to dodge. So that's going to be just frustrating as hell. And then after the dodge ends, the ally gets 70% all of the allies with the dodge get 70% attack for 5 turns. It's just ridiculous. I mean, just super powerful. And we haven't really seen these heroes filter down a lot yet. But yeah, really good. Plus, they get innate resistance against insanity. So that's massive. And they get innate resistance against attack reduction. So yeah, 100%, 110%. Peregrine is a fantastic hero. S tier, S plus all day long. Ratatoska, pretty decent healer, nice tile booster, give him an A. Relius, probably the second best reviver in the game in my opinion, even though Lyson was running slower, I do like her more. But he, as a healer, is probably, as a general healer, is probably, I would say, better. 40% chance to revive with 30% H, it's just huge. And he gives that Moonrise Ward as well. Yeah, S plus. He's fantastic, man. He's one of the best healers. Sha Wujing next to him, S tier all day long. Still a fantastic hero. The tubby, chubby guy from the War of Three Kingdoms or Journey or freaking whatever family he's from. Sylvaria. They tried a lot to buff Sylvaria. I feel like they love Sylvaria for some reason, but I can't get on board with that. Smart Tongue, fantastic hero. Excellent with the boosted health and the reduction of health as well. Very, very difficult to deal with on defensive teams and also quite fun to play around with on offense. So S tier for Smart Tongue. Tarlak, probably just the best attack up in green. Maybe one or two others. But Tarlak is fantastic. So yeah, S tier if you have his costume. If you don't have his costume, he's just really useful. So B plus. Teddy. A lot of people are real fans of Teddy, I find, but I really don't like him. I cannot give him any more than a B. I don't think that his health and the sleep effect go well together, or his heal and sleep effect go well together. Telluria, how the great have fallen, dog water hero. The Hatter, without the costume, A grade hero, maybe A plus. With the costume, S plus, just fantastic. You can have so much fun with the Hatter, and the fun factor counts for a lot for me. Varus, the destroyer of worlds. Do not underestimate this little owl. His damage is humongous. Like, I don't even know how he gets so much damage out. It says up to 1200 damage, but I feel like it's like 5000. And then that bleed is huge. That bleed that increases, and he reduces your accuracy as well. He's a horrible hero to face. Xandrella, recently featured. You probably know my thoughts on Xandrella, but if you don't, she's fantastic. Her stats are very dated. So as far as this list is concerned, for the whole of Empires and Puzzles, probably an A+. But in all other cases, yeah, she's pretty damn good. Xiomara, fantastic hero. Although she's not quite as powerful as we thought she was going to be when she came out, she is still pretty damn powerful. If you don't deal with her, she can punish your entire team. S tier for Xiomara. Pardon me, guys. I didn't say this was going to be a short video, so I hope you're not waiting for a short video, because that's not going to be one. Zoc, terrible hero, doesn't make the cut. And now we are into the dark heroes. So we've got Eren in either costume, just trash, really don't like him. Anushka, terrible, probably one of the worst heroes of the month. I just hate her for some reason. And not just because she's old. I love old people. It's not that. I just hate Anushka. Anubis, interesting effect. Not quite as good as I thought he was going to be, but he is pretty tricky to deal with on defense. Not sure how well he plays offensively, but then I haven't seen a lot of people using him. I'll give him an A+ if you have the costume. If you don't, then don't bother. Aramis, fantastic hero, still excellent for part of a purple attacking team. Plus he hits and boosts your own health and gives you element protection. So despite his dated stats, I'd still put him in the S tier. Belladonna, Very easy hero to underestimate. And actually, I'd love Belladonna. If they would feature her in a Soul Exchange, I'd be all over that old granny. And like I said, I'm not ageist because she is probably older than Anushka by the looks of things. So for her, 42% health recovery and then additional health per fiend the allies had. Really good for removing fiends. Plus they get increased attack. Plus they get the bard bonus. Plus they get immunity to buff dispels for 4 turns. Really great protector of your team. S tier. Carter, actually with that buff, she's pretty difficult to deal with. So I'll put Carter in the S tier as well. Lifting the ailments and distributing them on allies is also pretty good. Plus the increased mana generation for your team. Yeah, she makes a pretty good defensive hero. Xenius, Destroyer of Worlds again. Do not underestimate the owls. Just massive damage. And then the chance to, 100% chance to recast. And he can recast up to 3 times on it. And the damage is reduced, but it doesn't really matter because by that time your team is just dead. He's like the Lemonwood of the owls. He's fantastic. S tier. Dark Feather. S tier. Pretty easy S tier. I love Dark Feather. Demetia. Again, like I said, initial version, pretty okay. First costume was good at the time because you needed the cleanse. Second costume, fantastic because she hits 3 for the same amount and then gives the defense down against dark. And now the toon, just an absolutely brutal hero. Demetia gets the stamp of approval with the S tier. Dreadstar, S tier hero, absolutely fantastic. Dubhan, sorry, I'm going to try and go a bit quicker now. Dubhan, interesting hero, 300% damage to the target, and then targets another enemy if they had over 50% health. It's kind of like the Queen Anne of the Jungle Hunters or Plains Hunters. Shit, I forget. It's the Plains Hunters, I think it is. And then it chains through all of the enemies. So really, really cool. And then the hit enemies get the bleed damage. Gasteel, S tier hero as well. Grimble, still pretty cool for destroying minions in certain situations, but doesn't have a costume yet. Probably be better if he did. But for now, B grade. Hawthorne, still an excellent healer with the reflect, so I'll give him and gives the mana as well. He's got to be an S tier hero. Hell, S tier with the costume. Without the costume, probably not. With the costume, she's brutal. 320% damage to all enemies, and then she steals all the generated mana over 4 turns. Just excellent hero. Holder, there was a time when I would have put her in the S tier, but that time is no longer. The minions are not strong enough. They don't recover enough health. I'm going to give Hilda an A minus. Hurricane, still an S tier hero, just a huge amount of damage. I mean, and that burn, you know, it's a lot. You can't, for 410 damage to the target nearby, plus 900 burn damage over 4 turns, you can't give him anything less, really. Plus, he gets the attack stack against the weaker elements. So kind of a disability, maybe an A plus for him. Kameni, yeah, nah, definitely not going to make the cut, but, you know, the amount of damage per status ailment, there were things that I wanted to do to try and work this out. And I did post on the forum and try and get some feedback from guys when he was featured in the Soul Exchange. Ended up deciding against him, and I don't regret my decision. So that probably tells you all you need to know. Khepri, again, was a time when he was pretty good, but until we see a costume for this guy, I'm not going to put him anywhere near the S tier. Kiona, even with her costume, she's still pretty trash. And that's probably one of the only Hero of the Month costumes that I've said is actually complete trash. Aside from maybe Gregorian, but Gregorian's not complete trash because at least he has a use. Kiona, her effect just doesn't really work very well. Killhair with the costume, too dated now, unfortunately. So Killhair, sadly, is not going to make the cut. Louis would definitely make the cut. Very disappointed not to have seen a costume for Louis in the most recent Kelvala summons. That would have been awesome. But as it is, Louis is still an excellent hero with a priority dispel and a damage. Yeah, I'm going to say like high A tier. But just for that priority dispel really comes in clutch a lot of the time. Maligna, wasted time. Mok R, absolute terrible hero, costume or not. Morax, he's okay-ish, like a B minus. Mortimer's excellent. He gets that 480% damage plus the silence effect. So I definitely like Mortimer. Peppermint, pretty decent amount of poison damage. 250% to all enemies, a bit low though. So B grade. Phantom of the Opera, still really a good hero. And the fact that he gives the target nearby enemies the dance effect. We all know who we want the dance effect for now at the moment as well. It can replace other dance effects, so that is very strong. I'd say I'll put him in the S tier as well. Rochefort, S tier hero, just been featured in a recent soul exchange, and if you did grab him, I'm sure you're probably loving using him. Massive damage, great effects as well, if you do manage to kill that enemy that you targeted. Salmon Loki, waste of time. Don't even know why he's in here actually. I think we're looking at Salmon Loki being a slow speed hero, but I might be wrong. Sargasso, nah, just a terrible hero. Shacklebolt, huge fan of Shacklebolt. Absolutely love the fact that he does damage and then copies the buffs and things like that. He's just very unique. Like, he steals mana, he copies buffs, and he deals 370% damage to the target nearby. Plus, he gets that destructive core as well, which gives him extra damage when he casts his special. Just a great hero. Fun hero, like unique hero and fun to play around with. So yeah, he gets massive props for that as well. Ursina, pretty good. I would say probably a bit more dated, but you use her against a holy team and then you go home happy. That's the way she works, and she always has done. So yeah, B+. Violet Potts, interesting hero. She safely dispels buffs from all enemies, so one of the earlier iterations of this. Not quite as big of a deal anymore since they can't sort of take it off on their own. But if you're in an equalizer war, she can really come in clutch. And then gives immunity to new buffs for 4 turns. Plus she summons a mega minion, and then the target that's hit gets bleed damage. So yeah, she's a pretty versatile hero. I do like her. But it's like you kind of feel like you wanted her to do something else. I don't know. I feel like there might be something missing. But I'll still put her in the S tier. She's still absolutely excellent, and you will get a lot of use out of her. Voidstar, Astral Elves are definitely on the up and up at the moment. S tier for her, hit and boost health, I think she does. No, heals for 40% of the damage. Fantastic. But that snipe is awesome as well. And then we have the monster that is Von Rothbard. 550% damage to the target is huge, and then gives that Ballad of Pain. And the Ballad of Pain silences the dancer, and then when the dance ends, the target suffers 1700 damage, but it also spreads to the nearby, and it's freaking crazy. It's just crazy the amount of damage that we have going on with Von Rothbard. He's brutal. So yeah, S tier, S+, fantastic hero. Zhong Shanjun, the bear, pretty much a waste of time, unfortunately, even though he received a pretty decent buff. Exnol, again, he's kind of come and gone and had his day, but he still gives that nice little mana boost. So I still use him quite a lot. I'll put him in the B tier as well. The bear I'll probably put in the B tier as well. Zulag, dog water hero, just terrible. Abigail, not the hugest fan of Abigail. She's not one of the best of the insanity heroes. I think she gets the little minions, yeah, the Zulu minions or whatever they call them. I mean, she's an insanity hero, so she's got to be, one of the better heroes, but still, A+ at best, and doesn't compare to heroes like Atwood. Amber, pretty decent hero actually, but she's kind of finicky. Like, she heals herself, and then the target resists healing, so she's kind of selfish, which I don't like. I don't like selfish heroes. So I'll give her an A, maybe. I think we're being kind. Maybe a B. Fuck it. I don't need to grade every single hero, but we'll get there. Okay. So Anzog, not gonna make the cut. Aradia, pretty decent hero. She gives that max health reduction, which it's pretty big actually. And then gives burn damage and then negative healing. I mean, when she came out, pretty good, but now A at best. Ares, fantastic hero. I love the art for Ares. I can't get myself away from that. I like the costume for Ares as well. And I feel like he can form part of a really good, like red, like stocky red, almost passive aggressive type of team. But yeah, he's not the greatest, is he? Like B grade for him. Ashe. Ashe is an interesting hero, deals damage and then deals extra damage per fire shield, and then gives negative defense against fire. He's pretty cool, but he's like kind of all over the place. Like somebody else I know called Ashe. Private joke. But yeah, I'll give him an A+. Asterius, no, he just doesn't make the cut anymore, man. Like the stats on him are too dated. Balder, in his costume version, does have some uses, but again, not going to make the cut. Barkley, pretty awesome damage with the Fiends, but again, at best, like an A+. Black Caesar, nice amount of damage, really stocky Fiend. And then what else does it do? Gives negative attack. Yeah, the negative attack bit's not good enough, is it? It's just not good enough. I'll give Black Caesar an A+ as well. Black Knight, fantastic hero, especially if you have the costume. He's still going to be right up there close to the S tier, maybe an A+ for him as well. Blossom is a fantastic healer, nice health recovery, nice buff dispel as well. And then, yeah, I mean, she gets the extra heal, but at best A+. Brimstone, oh man, Brimstone, I was about to say like A+ as well, but I'll put Brimstone in the S tier, definitely. Just the amount of different things that he's doing at the same time, giving the Fiends as well, with the negative defense against fire as well, plus the destructive core for that extra damage. He's still an awesome hero, S tier. Cardinal Richelieu, S tier hero. I love the way that he steals the buffs with the little Fiends. That's brilliant. It works like the way that the green guy should work as well. Can't remember his name, the 4-star. Carmenta, what does she do again? She's probably the first one that I've forgotten completely. Spreads all of the target's cleansable status ailments. Now, I like this one, actually, when it came out. And the duration of the ailments is reset for the target nearby. Kind of, it should have been for all enemies, but still pretty cool. And then she deals damage to the target and minor damage to nearby as well. I'd put her in the S tier. She's pretty damn awesome, I think. I like Carmenta. Chomper, again, like a hitter and a health booster. But again, just the stats being so dated mean that they don't hit as hard, which means they can't heal as hard. So I can't give as good of a mark. So A tier for Chomper. Cookie, not my favorite hero out of the Christmas heroes. Really not going to make the cut, unfortunately. Cupido, still an excellent mana controller. So I would say probably in the S tier or at least close to it. Doxan, big amount of damage from this guy actually. And then the minor to nearby. And then the burn damage as well. But I can't put him in the top of the top because he's just not there. There's too many heroes that are. So yeah, A+ for him as well. Elba, she does damage to the target nearby and then recovers health. It's 1,000 health after 4 turns. But then if the effects removed before, they get 1,300. So pretty cool. Damage to the target nearby. And then it gives the counter attack as well. I'm going to say A+ as well. Elizabeth, there was a time when she was pretty damn good. I remember people hunting for her. I remember Budman69 freaking hunting her down. And eventually got her and was just so happy. But she's not as strong as that anymore. So yeah, she doesn't make the cut, unfortunately, guys. Flip's actually pretty good. But then his bypass doesn't work in the way that you think it does against the hero that you want it to work against. But it does work against other heroes. So yeah, I'll give Flip an A. Flip an A. Fulvia, nah, she's probably one of the worst owls still, even with her buffs. Guardian Kong is a fantastic hero in his costume if you have it. So I'd say S tier in the costume. Isrod, Crave Crush, Lady Loki costume will not make the cut. Mad Hammer is an S tier hero. Mitsuko, with or without the costume, still won't make the cut for me. Neither will Nima. And then we've got Norman. he's a very interesting one because he's actually an excellent counter for one of the most powerful heroes in the game right now. So Normal Norman makes the cut, S tier. Oceanus, really good hero, S tier as well. Octaros in the costume will be an S tier. There was a time when he, again, was just an absolute beast. And now it's like you're not even scared to go up against him. Like, how the times change, and they change bloody quickly. Phonexa, S tier hero all day long. Just an excellent healer. Crit rate, at everything else that she's got going on with the Bard bonus. Just really, really great. Puss in Boots. Even with the costume, I'm not going to give a Puss in Boots an S tier. Queen of Hearts. Even with the costume, I can't give her an S tier either. I mean, just, yeah. The minion that gives taunt. The minion can be too easily taken care of. I'd rather have taunt and some other kind of defense up effect, for example, because the taunt disappears when you destroy the minion. So it's counterproductive. Not a fan. Red Hood, no. Russell, no. Scoria, absolute yes. Freaking beast of a hero. 420% damage to the target with the highest HP, 300% damage to everyone else. Just brutal. Yeah, S tier. Skargrimar, nope. Sparklight, absolute yes. Huge amount of damage to the target nearby, and then they get burn damage and they reflect status effect buffs onto the opposition team. Just a dominating hero, fantastic, and never misses. Sun Quan, until we see a costume, probably not. We summon the minions, we give some burn, and that's about it. Timothy, just a massive disappointment, really. It looks like he's going to be good with the boosted health, and then everything just kind of falls apart. Not a fan. Yukonin, I'll give him an A+ with the costume. His costume was actually one of the better ones from the seasonal portal. Zenda, no, I can't. I mean, she does do some pretty cool effects, probably an A. Zhao Tu, still excellent against minion teams, so A+ for there. And yeah, probably an A+ in most other areas with a decent snipe. Jiwang Mu, this is one of those fun heroes where you like kind of want to play and live life dangerously on the edge. Just for the fun factor, I'll give her an A+. She's just so much fun. You just like harakiri yourself and then everybody comes back and just freaking kills it. Like they get resurrected and then they just deal a boatload of damage to everyone. It's fun as hell. Zagrog, no. Although his bypass is pretty cool. For a hero of the month, he's not bad, but he is dated now. And Zarya, not a huge fan of Zarya. She's just ugly as hell. Zenobia with the costume or without, still really good against Titans. Not much else. Zimkeitha, the costume is fantastic. So I'll give Zimkeitha costume an S tier just for that. Dispel at fast speed is awesome. Alvar, beast of a hero. S tier all day long. Aviana, not impressed by her, honestly. As a hero of the month, she was pretty terrible. Cleopatra, just still one of the better heroes in the game as far as healers go. Now, if you have her costume, she's definitely still in the S tier. And that prevention of ailments and where she heals when you try and give her ailments really makes things frustrating on defense. So one of the better healers in the game. Dabria is excellent as a reviver, but her heal over time kind of works against her. So I'll say an A for Dabria, maybe even a B+. Just not the greatest, and there are better revive choices. Delilah, pretty much a waste of time, not a fan. Divana was such a great hero and such cool effects when she came out, but the damage and the stats are just not enough now. Even though I've got mine second limit broken, she just doesn't punch as hard as she did before. So a bit of a disappointment there, unfortunately. Director Zuri, probably another one in the same vein. Still a pretty decent heal, and cleanse plus the extra minions do help. I'll give her an A grade still. Eloise, for the Fiend Destruction, I think my list is not working very well. But I'll give her probably a B. She's kind of average now. Frank Fang's Brimwell. Frank Fang Brimwell. I still hate the fact that he summons the minion that does the same thing that his regular effect does. But he's still a good hero. So yeah, he's an S tier hero. But he won't be for long if they don't change that minion. Mark my words. Ferdinand, still a great hero, still nice reflect and everything else. Stats are getting a bit dated, so I'll give him an A. Costume Gazelle. Gazelle, the regular Gazelle is fantastic. I'll give her an A+. Costume for Gazelle, S+. She's just, you cannot do any better. Fantastic effect, and will make you have a team that is pretty much, you feel, indestructible, because when they get going, they will get going and they will take people's numbers and names and just kick ass. So yeah, Guardian Gazelle's fantastic. Guinevere in the costume, got really excited about her when she came out, but that effect's not as strong as it once was, so she will not make the cut. Gwyn, absolutely fantastic hero, huge amount of damage, just ridiculous skills, S tier all day long. Hachiko, still pretty good, but then again, like I say, the stats are dated and it's 270% damage to all enemies, so we're seeing other heroes with a lot higher damage. So yeah, I can't give him anything more than an A. Hilda, fantastic, huge amount of damage, fantastic after effects as well. She easily makes the cut, plus that soft skin is a bugger to deal with. Inari, even with the costume, I'm not going to give her an S tier now. Iron Maw, I will. Massive target, massive damage to the target and all dark enemies. So he's kind of like with that super elemental thing where they're hitting only specific enemies. But I don't mind that, because if you use it in the right way, or if you just don't really use him too much on defense, then you get the most value out of that hero. So yeah, you know, saying that, I'll probably give him an A. Nah, I can't give him an A+, because some of the other heroes are good. He's in the S tier for sure. Absolute hero that you would max if you had him. Jana, I'd put her in that tier as well. Just fantastically hard hit. Kara, still excellent hero, very usable taunt hero. I will give her a solid A+. And she gets the alpha taunt as well, which is really useful. Kalevo, still a really good hero, the minus attack. Again, the stats are probably getting a bit dated, but from the Kalevala heroes, I'd put Kalevo, Costume Yukinen, and Louis as heroes that I would definitely max. They're all worth leveling for sure. Lazara, fantastic skill. Safe Cleanse, again, like I say, not quite as important, but it may become more important in the future. You never know. But still, the priority cleanse is nice. Plus, he damages all the enemies, and then he gives it so they can't get their status ailments cleansed for the following 4 turns, and he gives a negative healing decrease as well, which is brutal. And then we've got Merasank with the Mana Spank. I can't give her anything more than an A. She's pretty good, but not insanely good. Neith, not going to make the cut. Norn's not going to make the cut, even with the costume. Onatel, nope. Papyrus, nope. Pinalite, no, and I can't believe I'm saying it. Queen Goang, no, and again, I can't believe I'm saying it. Rana and Rana costume, not going to make the cut. Rock will make the cut. The costume for Rock is fantastic. Priority, he's got that dispel without damaging, and then a huge amount of sand damage. He definitely is a very usable hero. Plus, he gives negative defense down 44% for 4 turns. Fantastic hero. Charles, just a beast, just a monster among monsters, and was until very recently probably my pick for one of the best heroes in the game. And I thought he was going to stay there for ages. But we will see in a minute, won't we, whether or not he has managed to retain his, spot as the best hero in the game. Sorry, I got too excited there talking about my boy. Right, now we've got Sif, both regular and a costume. She's not going to make the cut even with the costume anymore. Neither is Sarustali. And then we come on to this sludgy Mamujama. What has happened? Honestly, that's what a lot of people are asking themselves. Sludgus, does she make the cut? I don't know. Maybe we should give her like a D grade, just for fun. See how that goes. No, we're not. Honestly, she's just freaking awesome. Uraeus, not going to make the cut. Neither is Wolfgang. And Xavier, I've seen him used a bit, but also not to very good effect. Like, it's damage to the target, and then it can increase, and it's just all over the place, and it doesn't work. So That brings us to the end of our list of average speed heroes. We've gone through a mega amount of heroes, and now it is time for us to count down the top 20 greatest average speed heroes in the whole of Empires and Puzzles. So let's go. Starting at number 20, I'll be right back in one moment. Alrighty then, so time to go with our top 20, and bringing in the rear, it is none other than, if you can believe it, Normal Norman and Satori. That's right, two of the probably newest heroes in the game have not made it any higher than number 20 on this list, and that just tells you something about how super powered the heroes are that we've got currently. Norman is absolutely fantastic because his special skill ignores dodge effects, and it gives all allies a chance to bypass his defensive buffs, bypasses everything, and it's gone up from the 285 that you can see here up to 320, which means that you can counter the annoying and ugly ass sludgers with this guy, and he will hit because it ignores dodge effects. Right, enough said about him. Excellent passives. Satori gives an excellent chance for you to negate all received damage to 1, and for himself and the caster in nearby. Plus he deals like 550% damage, it says on this card, but I think it's up to like 600 now or something like that against heroes that cleanse or dispel using special skills. So you don't want to take a dispeller or cleanser up against this guy. I cannot split hairs between the two of these guys, but for the champions heroes average speed, I'm going to put these two at number 20 together and alongside one another. Now moving on to number 19, it is Nautica. Nautica is a fantastic hero. If you don't know already, now you know. She is freaking cool. She gives that mana generation. She gives 33% mana generation, 45% health to all allies. Sorry, not mana generation, but she gives 33% mana to her guys next to her. And then she heals and she boosts health. She's just awesome. All round awesome. Number 18, sorry, is going to be my man Darkfeather. Darkfeather is an excellent hero. I underestimated him and have come across against him many times. The fact that he just builds up that growth and that defense and that attack over time, even though it's not a huge amount, he keeps healing, he keeps building, he keeps growing, and before you know it, those hits are coming in hard and fast and they're doing some pretty amazing things. So yeah, he's awesome. So many areas of the game you can use this guy. He easily makes the number 18 spot. Now moving on. In number 17, we have the Guardian Gazelle costume. As I mentioned a second ago, she's just going to make any single team that you have on with her better, especially if you put her as part of a holy stack with 3 heroes. You're just going to be able to increase 110% attack. Plus, she now gets that massive upfront 48% health for all allies, which was something that the original version was lacking so badly. And they just put everything together in this card in the right order, and it makes for an insanely good hero. And she easily makes the number 17 spot. Now, next on our list is Atwood. Mr. Atwood, great to meet you, sir. He is a fantastic hero. Great priority dispel from the target nearby. Massive amount of damage to them. And then he inflicts them with insanity so they can make their special skills just wipe their whole team out. He does everything in the right order. He's got the special skill to back it up. And that priority dispel really comes in clutch. And that's why he makes our number 16 spot. And number 15 is none other than my man, the Blue Loki, the Blue Flame, the Blue Flash, whatever you want to call him. If you have the costume for this guy, you basically have every single hero in the game. And that is what makes him so freaking great. Even though his stats may be slightly lower, trust me, you want a copy of this guy. He is just so versatile. You can use him in so many different areas of the game. I think probably for me, he's one of the funnest heroes on my roster. I don't even have the blue one. I just have the regular one, but I popped my second limit breaks on him. I put them all shields so that I can have him survive as long as possible, because I know that I want to fire some of these super OP specials back at these heroes. And that is why he comes in at number 15. Now, number 14 on my list is the baseball bat bearing Lazara. And Lazara is a monster of a hero. And he is one of the champions as well. He wins out a little bit on Satori and on Norman because he cleanses status elements, or safely cleanses status elements from all his allies. And then he deals 325% damage. Plus he gives 50% decrease for healing. And then he makes it so that all of the enemies cannot get their status elements cleansed by special skills for the following 4 turns. So yeah, really, really brutal hero. And he easily makes the number 14 spot. Now, number 13, we again have a duo of heroes, which is going to be the Astral Elves making an appearance with Dreadstar and Voidstar. Now, I couldn't split hairs between these two heroes because they're very different and somehow very much the same. So the big difference between them is that one hits all and one hits a single target. But the effects on the after effects are kind of different, but kind of cool. Both of them are really, really useful. Both of them never miss their targets. They both benefit from the passive. So like I said, I cannot split hairs. One of them hits everyone, gives negative mana generation and a negative decrease for healing. The other one hits a single target, but gives 620% damage to that target. 40% of the damage is healed, or they heal for 40% of the damage they deal, and then 74% for all allies' defense against special skills for 4 turns. So in both cases, they're just as useful. In fact, I'd love to put them both on a team together, and I mean, that's just dreaming, but yeah, that would be awesome. Scoria is our next hero. He is coming in hot. I've kind of lost my count again, but I believe he's at number 12. So Scoria is coming in at number 12 with his Cauterizing Touch, which is not just a touch, it's a squash and a splatter and a punch in the face. Because he deals 420% damage to the enemy. And again, like I said before, with the highest remaining HP, but then 300% damage to all of the other enemies, which is absolutely huge. I mean, 300% damage to every single other enemy that is on the team is just freaking brutal. Absolutely brutal. And yeah, he's it's not just that, but he also gives the Wither effect, where he gives negative 350 attack as well. Plus he gets that core where he gets the poison damage as well. He's just brutal, absolutely brutal, and he makes our number 12 spot. Now, moving on, number 11, we have Xenius the Owl. Again, just a monster of a hero. I think I pretty much described him when we were going over him a second ago. But the fact that he can hit so many times in quick succession, and he's hitting 3 heroes every single time that he hits, and he's like, he basically had like a 6-hitter guaranteed, and then he can hit another 3 times or another 2 times after that. It's just ridiculous amount of damage with this guy. There's nothing much else going on, but you don't need it. Honestly, he's a beast, man. Just a freaking beast. Okay, so he's coming in at number 11. So now we are going to go through our top 10. I'm just going to make sure I've got my count right here, because what I'm reading off, I might or I might not. Bear with me 1 sec. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Right, I've got my count right. Thank goodness. Right, so starting off in to our top 10. We have, coming in hot, the Thorn that has just come into our side and pierced our lungs and stopped us all from breathing. Because it is Toon Thorn, by the way. He's a fantastic hero, just a massive damage dealer and just a brute. And that Toon passive makes him even more difficult to deal with on defense. 640% damage to the target, minor damage to nearby, extra damage against fire, and a freaking crazy passive. So he easily makes our number 10 spot. I was going to put Toon Richard alongside him here, but you know what? I think Thorn's better. Now, number 9, Changi. She deserves this spot, man. Just what a brutal hero. Damage to all enemies makes it so all enemies cannot cast any new status effects on allies or enemies for 4 turns. So she's basically doing sorry guys again. So she's basically doing like a Melosi effect to the entire team and the same amount of damage to the entire team as well, and for a longer period of time. And then gives 45% defense against specials for 4 turns. Just a really frustrating hero, excellent hero, very difficult to deal with, and she makes our number 9. So number 8 is going to be my man from the Clash of Knights, Mr. Humbert. The humble Humbert has been looked over many times, but I wouldn't look him over too hard because he's actually pretty good. 350% damage to all enemies and boosts all allies' health by 15% of the damage dealt. I believe that has actually been increased. I think I just read it was 25, but he does deal a massive amount of damage and boost the health of your entire team. And that is what he's all about. But then he also gives an increased defense, and you cannot give him defense down. What more could you want? Just a brutal hero. Easily makes the number 8 spot. Now coming in at number 7, we have, I can barely believe it's number 7, man. So number 7 is Gwyn. And Gwyn is the construct hero that looks like a yellow turd, a yellow metal turd. And Gwyn is more brutal than I could ever have imagined. Just insane, honestly. 350% damage to all enemies, bypasses the target's minions. Remind you of anyone that could be useful against. Costume Dia-chan, for example. All enemies then receive 258 burn damage over 3 turns. Plus she gets the corrosive core as well. I believe that has been increased from what I see on this card, or at least with limit breaks and emblems it will definitely go up. Plus the corrosive, that can take care of the minions. Plus you're getting the damage in. And then all enemies take 50% increased damage from burn and poison. And it just so happens she's giving burn and poison for the following 3 turns. Brutal, brutal hero. And she makes our number 6 spot. Number 6 or number 7, sorry. 10, 9, 8. Yeah, she was number 7. I can't believe it, right? So number 6 on our list is going to be, this might surprise a lot of people, but number 6 on our list for the top average speed heroes in Empires and Puzzles is none other than Charl. Number 6. And Charl is probably, that's just an example of probably what I thought was going to be the top hero in Empires and Puzzles for many months, at least many months, maybe a year or so after he was released. But here we are a few months later and he's at number 6. So Charl, he gets 340% damage to all enemies, heals all allies for 20% of the damage dealt, and then all holy allies receive all strong damage as regular damage, so that means like purple against holy, doesn't matter, for 3 turns, and he cleanses status ailments from all allies. Just a complete package, absolutely excellent hero, and he gets that health boost core as well, so he boosts health on top of what he's doing. Fantastic hero at the number 6 spot. Next hero on the list, number 5, is Hilda. Just a little understated, if I'm totally honest. And a lot of people going to battle against Hilda thinking it's going to be an easy run and they're going to come out on the other side unscathed. But let me tell you, when this hero hits you, you're probably going down. It's 435% damage to the target and nearby. And then the target nearby receive 708 bleed damage over 4 turns. This also will increase with limit breaks and emblems. And the bleed damage is absorbed as all allies steal 50% of it as boosted health. Just ridiculous, isn't it? It's really, really good as well, though. Like, you really want her for that. And then the target nearby are also immune to new status effect buffs for 4 turns. Just a brutal hero. And she makes the number 5 on our list. Now, coming in number 4 is our newest hero in the whole game, and that is Peregrine. We did talk quite a bit about Peregrine a second ago, so I'm not going to go over all of that in detail again. But Peregrine is a fantastic hero, just insane, really great family skills with a resistance against insanity, huge amount of damage, massive skill with the enhanced dodge, where you have to dodge for 5 times before it gets removed. And it's just such a frustrating skill, as well as being an awesome damage dealer and protects herself at the same time. Easily makes our number 4 spot. Now we are getting into the top 3 heroes in the whole of Empires and Puzzles at average speed. And coming in at 3rd place, one of our newer releases into the Stag family. It is none other than Alvar. The really scrawny looking, weird looking dude is just a insane hero. He's just so freaking good. He lifts every ailment that your team has on them and randomly distributes it on enemies. Okay, we haven't, it's not like we haven't seen that before, but he resets the duration of those. He deals 350% damage to all enemies. This guy is just brutal, and the order in which he does things is so freaking good. He easily makes the number 3 spot. Trust me, he's got a lot more going for him. I will pop a link to a review on Alvar because I don't think we have enough time for it, but I will in the review in the description below, as I will for each of these top 3 heroes, because I think that's the best way to do it, so you get an idea of just how good they are, because like I say, I'm probably over time, to be fair. Now, 2nd place coming in is Von Rothbart with his horrible, annoying, ridiculous, overpowered Ballad of Pain. And he will do 550% damage to the target, and then he will silence the target. That dance will spread to the nearby enemies over the next 4 turns, and when they get out of the chains of the dance, they'll suddenly all receive 1700 damage all at once. And it is just, if you're on the other side of it, it's going to be brutal. You are going to cry, and you are going to want to delete the game and throw your phone at the wall. But if you are the one that has this guy on your team, once you put that effect on, you are going to be smiling and laughing and just waiting for that utter destruction. And then you will see suddenly on the other side of the warboard, X-Member, because that dude will have run like a chicken through the cornfield. That's how good this guy is. He is brutal. And he makes our number 2 spot. So that means that the number 1 spot for average heroes in the whole of Empires and Puzzles as of right now, September 2024, and this doesn't happen very often, but it is the most recently released hero into the game, and a hero that has caused a huge amount of controversy. It is none other than the yellow jelly-bellied Sludgus, or Sludgus, however you want to say it. Sludgus is making the rounds, and she is making them for good reason. This is one of the most terrifying jellies that you will ever see. I think it's pineapple, could be lemon, nobody knows. I'm going to go with pineapple, but I'm now afraid of pineapples for the rest of my life. I will never eat another pineapple as long as I cannot deal with Sludgus. Now, I've done some counterattack work on Sludgus. I've done some work on looking at different counters for her. It's pretty difficult to deal with this hero. I'm just warning you. If you put her on the right defense and the right setup, it's extremely hard to deal with Sludgus. There are some counters available, but they're few and far between. And this hero is just so brutal. She recovers, just give me a second. She recovers 50% health for all allies. And then all allies start dancing the dance of the slimy. Now, the dance of the slimy gives them a 45% chance to dodge special skills. If they dodge, you're getting 1600 damage per dodge. And you can kill yourself in like 3 seconds flat with this hero. You fire your special skills off at somebody who's dancing that horrible dance to the slimy, and you are going bye-bye. You're off. You're gone. There's no coming back from going up against this hero with a bad board. There's no coming back from going up against this hero on a strong defensive team. You know what, though? I always like a challenge, and that's why I think that Sludgus, even though she's making some pretty serious waves, is actually quite a fun addition to the game. because, like I said, I love a challenge and she definitely presents one. But for now, it's a very, very tough challenge for a lot of us. And that's why she makes my number one on the top 20 average speed heroes in the whole of Empires and Puzzles. So if you've stuck around till now, I hope that you guys have enjoyed the video. Please do let me know in the comments what you guys think about the list. Let me know if you think there's some heroes that deserve honorable mentions. I'm always open to honorable mentions on these lists. Please do drop us a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Just a reminder, we do have memberships on the channel. So if you feel like you want to support me, it is just me and, you know, myself and my phone, a couple of phones, whatever I'm using here. But also just, you know, it definitely helps to motivate me, obviously, to keep making these videos. There are some additional perks as well for becoming a member of the channel, which you can read about if you do go and check out the page. And lastly, I want to mention, we do have our Content Creators Oasis group, which is online. And I will, actually, I'll put the link to that in the description below. It's open to any and all people who are making content or who are thinking about making content for Empires and Puzzles, because I'm really a big advocate for supporting content creators in this game, because I believe the more content that we put out to the community, the more fun it is for everybody. People want to see and hear and know what's going on in the world of Empires and Puzzles. So, you know, if you're thinking about making some content and you're not quite sure how to do it or how to get started, the Content Creators Oasis group is so far about 30 members. We've got some very experienced content creators in there, including myself and quite a few others, who will be more than willing to help you on your journey. So yeah, I'll share that link in the description below. But for now, that is literally everything that we've got to do for today. So drop us those likes. Let's try and get this to 350. And if we do, I'll be seeing you very, very soon in another rankings video. But until then, drop us a like, subscribe, share it with your mother. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.